I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and the producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, I'm trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of our presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
Welcome black, welcome black, welcome black. This is B1AG Daily Bread podcast. I'm John Henry Harris, and we also have Kwame Brown, the MC. Here at B1AG, we focus on black agriculture as it pertains to agricultural production, education, marketing, health, food, nutrition, and economics for the black family and the black community. Right now, today we're going to have a great discussion, and it centers around Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown has the internet on fire with his mama's cooking, and he's really been fighting for his image. But we feel like the biggest bust is that there's a conversation that seems to be getting overlooked, for the clickbait and, the things that he has to say. But the biggest thing that we feel like is missing is that no one's talking about the fact that he's a farmer. Kwame Brown, the biggest bust is that we aren't talking about him farming. And we've in researching for this topic, we've been seeing that there are a lot of athletes that have been turning towards agriculture when they leave their respective sports. And believe it or not, it really is a natural connection between professional athletes and farming. When you think of a lot of professional athletes, you think about, the parties, fast cars, mansions, the luxurious lifestyle, and all just the large amounts of money that is available to be made. But, there are some athletes that surprisingly, when they retire, or even before they retire, they lead very simple lives, doing as farmers. And we're going to dive deep into this discussion because there's an even larger discussion that has an opportunity to happen, and it needs to happen for the black community, especially surrounding agricultural production and food security. So Farmer Brown, let's dive deep. Kwame Brown, the biggest bust is that we aren't talking about him farming. Let's get it.
First, I'd just like to say peace to the B1 family. Hope everybody's doing well, getting ready for Memorial Day, turning up, and all of that food you eat thanks to a farmer. But I think it was Dr. Amos Wilson that said the largest amount of black wealth is in the graveyards and cemeteries, with black men and women who went to the grave holding all of that information and knowledge in their minds, and it wasn't able to be disseminated properly or appreciated or received properly within the B1 community. But real quick, before I get started on my rant today, because this is a very touchy topic. Shout out to the Elder Neely Fuller. And so in his book, The United Independent Compensatory Code and Concept, the will to produce justice first, the thing that must happen first for justice can be produced, meaning you have to care about justice before it can be produced. When we talk about this concept of what we call white supremacy, I'll call it the opaque layer between us and our greatness. There's 9 areas of activity that are affected. And we know this is an agricultural show. but we're talking about economics. We're talking about education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war, and counter war. Now, we are going to put a disclaimer up because a lot of the images we'll be showing today, I imagine many of these people, some of these people probably aren't happy about their images being on the same screen as the other, but we really want to have this discussion about what is the Black Bilderberg group of agriculture look like, the potentiality of it, because it's all a dream. You can't copyright or patent dreams, and we've just had this dream of how can we really get the B1 community focused around not just agriculture and supporting the farmers, which is definitely needed, but how do we make this a large part of our culture? And so we look forward to deep diving into this conversation and pointing out the successes and the brain trust of power that already exist within Black men and what we call this concept of North America.
I know one thing, a lot of people don't realize, okay, Kwame Brown, he went to high school at Glenn Academy in Brunswick, Georgia. That's 60 miles away from here. Shannon Sharp, former NFL tight end, Hall of Famer. Now he's on, an NFL sports analyst. Again, grew up less than 100 miles from me. So this touches me personally because I know this lifestyle. I come from this lifestyle. This is a lifestyle I was born into. That is, farming as well as athletics. I was a standout football player myself as well. But I can guarantee you, I never would have became the athlete I became if it wasn't for farming and agriculture. Feeding my body those great foods that me and my grandfather grew. My grandmother preparing it, talking about mama's cooking, my granny's cooking was something to behold. And I'm pretty sure, almost anyone, whether you're in the South or not, it's nothing like granny's cooking or mama's cooking or granny's cooking. That's a big staple because food is such a major part of our life. So in this discussion, we're just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull up this it's a dream, y'all. Like what if? Like we see right now it's around Kwame Brown, everybody's focusing on all the discord and the beef and and the jokes and things like that. But there's such a serious conversation that should be had that we should be having. And hopefully we can initiate this conversation today. I'm gonna pull up yo, what's up, bro?
We're talking about athletes, and I have to be totally honest. I played youth sports. When I got to high school, that's when I got into rap music and girls, and so I kind of put sports to the side. But we have millions of our young men, and today we're talking to the young men. The queens are welcome to listen, but we're talking to the young men today. The average pro athlete in North America earns $14.46 an hour. I repeat that. The average professional athlete in North America earns $14.46 an hour. There are only 11,800 pro athletes. That's less than 1% of the U.S. population. I think Dr. Umar said a young black boy got a better chance getting struck by lightning than going to the league. And here at B1AG, we like to stick to specifics. When we think about the NBA and why the conversation that the brother Kwame Brown is having right now is so important, 78% of NFL players go broke after 2 years of retirement. 78%. And these is with $1 million contracts. And then the NBA is 60% go broke after 5 years. 60%. The beauty of what Kwame Brown has brought to the attention of the world. I don't, and like I said, the biggest bust is that I hope as a community, we don't miss this layup, because this is a layup. We understand that there's a power in truth. There's a power in just being open about what it is you're doing. He is literally, through his life, whether people want to call him a bust, there's all sorts of people that on either side that have their opinions, but he's literally, with his life, laid out a blueprint of what uplifting Black agriculture in this part of the diaspora looks like. And we like to go over some of what this dream team of this Black Bilderberg of agriculture can look like in North America. You can pull up the image. We want to stress people that this is a dream. We have no, if somebody told me, we don't have any authority. We don't necessarily, I've been fortunate to meet some of these gentlemen over the course of my journey, if you could enlarge the picture. But what this represents is a brain trust of Black men who over the decades have stood up for not only their respective sectors within Black culture, whether we're talking about religion, whether we're talking about sex, war, economics, education, law. So first, let's start with Thomas Burrell. So a few months back, I was fortunate to talk with Judge Joe Brown, just about agriculture, the history of agriculture, and what we call North America. And so Thomas Burrell, he's the president of the Black Farmers and Agriculturalists Association, but he was a multi-million-dollar farmer out of Tennessee, and Judge Joe Brown represented him. And I want to keep reiterating, we're not here to speak for anybody. We do know that many of these gentlemen are, not best of friends with some of the gentlemen on this page. But so once again, as we have this conversation, I want you to frame it as what if? But Thomas Burrell was $1 million farmer, and the system came at him because he was too successful. He was fortunate to have Judge Joe Brown represent him. But once again, if the only people that are supporting you is the Black agricultural community, we know Black farmers only represent less than 1.4% of 3.5 million farmers in North America. So that's not a big lobby. Next to him, we have the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam. So we know back in 1964, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had set out the 3-year economic blueprint. And he was saying way back then, we need to get into growing our own food. We know Louis Farrakhan is a litmus test of how loyal are you to the group. We've seen a lot of brothers over the last few years. The word buck broken is being thrown around a lot now. Peace to the brother Tariq Nasheed. A lot of men are being buck broken and silenced. And this is one thing that Kwame Brown has. What did they say? Let the wheat and the tare grow together, and I'll do the separating. So all of these men in this image are representatives of this blade that's separating. But we know, like I said, regardless of what religious standpoint you come from, Reverend Louis Farrakhan has represented a group of people that says, let's do for self. Up there at the top in the middle, you have Dr. Claude Anderson, Powernomics. This is one of the leading political voices in what we call Black America. He's been there for decades. He served under multiple presidents, talking about the importance of Black folks, what we'll call Black folks, galvanizing, being very conscientious about not only our vote, but our politics, our intra-politics. Politics doesn't always mean going to a poll. Sometimes politics is just basically the movement of power. How do we move our power? How do we leverage our power? Next to him, we have the elder Neely Fuller. And so this is the author of the compensatory code. The concept of the compensatory code is we need a code. We understand this concept of white supremacy is a code. It's something that doesn't need to be spoken about. People understand if I look this way, if I come from this particular heredity, and I understand the system in play benefits me, and this applies to agriculture. All of this is agriculture, people. Then I'm gonna be on code. Next to him, we have John Boyd, and similar to Thomas Burrell, he's a successful farmer out of Virginia, and he's the president of the National Black Farmers Association, which shouldn't be confused with the Black Farmers Agriculturalists Association. Under him, We got these devices going off. I guess we're talking on that level, right? Under him, we have Reverend Phil Valentine. Personally, there's some people that look at the metaphysical community as, oh, those are hoteps. Oh, they're just, talking out the side of their neck. But Dr. Phil Valentine has been putting in work for decades, just awakening people. He's up from New York, but he's been a heavy proponent of the aeroponics system with Juice Plus. Next to him, you have Judge Joe Brown. This represents law. We know within agriculture, a lot of people are economically and legally lynched. A lot of our farmers have lost a lot of land over the years. From the 1910s, when black farmers were 15% of the ag population, we find ourselves in 2021 where black farmers only represent 1.4. A lot of that was done through legalese. A lot of that was done deceptively. We're going to skip over Kwame Brown for this piece of it, because he's the center of it all, as being one of the most popular black voices in the world right now. He's a black farmer. I hope the viewers can understand the beauty and potentiality of this situation. So next to him to the right, you have Morgan Freeman. So a lot of us have grown up seeing Morgan Freeman in movies. He's played God, right? He's played God in a lot of movies, but he owns a 124-acre bee farm, a bee sanctuary. When we're talking about ag production, the importance of pollinators, we're thinking about holistic approaches to producing food. Bees and pollinators are a key piece of that. We understand that industrial agriculture, commercial agriculture over the past few decades has depleted not only the land, but it's also negatively affected the pollinators. And so this one actor that, people know as an actor, he's invested in raising bees. It's called apiculture, if we want to be scientific. Next to him is Jason Black. A lot of people know him as the Black Authority. And so some people call him the voice of Black America. But what he represents is media. He's put in a lot of work. He's one of the types of people that, I'm going to put this in your face. I'm not going to let you kind of skip along, especially in the political realm. I'm not going to let you skip along and act like you don't see these issues. And so the brother's been putting up billboards. The brother's put out documentaries, really highlighting the struggle. Next, when we go down, and I believe Brother Jay Hen can kind of speak on some of these brothers right here and their importance when we're talking about agriculture, because finance is a big piece of it.
I know what Dr. Boyce Watkins, definitely about finance. These grow operations need to be financed. Land needs to be purchased. And the long-term investments need to be made. Dr. Boyce Watkins can definitely lend a lot of knowledge and foresight into those areas. You have Jason Brown. Jason Brown turned down $35 million in the NFL. He was the highest paid offensive lineman in the NFL when he quit to start farming. He has First Fruit Farm, and he actually grew 100,000 pounds of sweet potatoes on 5 acres. And he also donates a percentage of his first harvest to food programs in his area. Von Miller, outstanding linebacker for the Denver Broncos. He wants to be a chicken farmer, and he's actually started his own chicken farm, raising poultry.
We think about education. It goes into Dr. Boyce and Dr. Umar. So I was fortunate to meet Dr. Boyce and Dr. Umar. Once again, we have a lot of controversy. We got a lot of contention just within our community. Unfortunately, a lot of our community feeds into the beef, and a lot of times we overlook the accomplishment of what these black men have set out to do unequivocally, openly, not secretive, not speaking in code. So Dr. Umar has been working on the Frederick Douglass Academy. So when we think about what does black agriculture look like, we realize out of 39,000 agricultural degrees awarded to college graduates, out of 39,000, only 1,100, not 11,000, only 1,100 went to what we call Black or African Americans in agriculture. We understand that 100% of us eat. Only 1.4% of primary operators in North America are classified as African American. And then when it comes to creating these pipelines, a little over 1,100, what we call African Americans, graduated. Where did this 11 number come up again? There's only a little over 11,000 professional athletic jobs. We also know within the agricultural sector, which not only touches production, we talking about sciences, talking about technology, there's easily 35,000 jobs in North America alone that go unfilled because there's not enough students going into agriculture. We get a lot of talk about the HBCUs, for the last two administrations. Yeah, we're going to help y'all Black folks by pouring all this money into HBCUs. And, I read an article a few months back, and I'm not really into sports like that, but they were talking about how the HBCU athletes really are getting a raw deal when it comes to going to the league. And so in my utopian dream, what if these young men and women who are going to these HBCU on sports scholarships had a model like Kwame Brown, already knowing going into it, okay, maybe I don't get this professional career, but in the case that I do, I already know what to invest my money in. Next, you got Tariq Nasheed, the brother Tariq Nasheed. We're a people that likes to look good. We're a people that likes to be fly. Tariq Nasheed has put out a series of documentaries, Hidden Colors, and then most recently, Buck Breaking. A lot of things are being brought to light after 2020, after these COVID lockdowns. A lot of people have literally and metaphorically come out swinging at this system, really trying to address, the issues that are plaguing the community. But Tariq Nasheed, what if somebody like Tariq Nasheed, because he has an outstanding ability to bring people together to discuss topics that are really affecting the B1 community. Next to him, you have Jay Prince. When we talk about Nellie Fuller's 9 areas of human activity, Jay Prince is a boss. What people also don't know, Jay Prince has many people don't know, he has 1,000-acre operation where he raises Angus and hay, and it brings in $200,000 a year. A lot of us in the B1 community, we know Jay Prince as the boss. He's a move maker. He's a money man from Texas. He's put on people like Drake. You think about rap a lot. 8-Ball, MJG, the Ghetto Boys, Willie D, peace to Willie D. But the man is an agriculturalist. He understood with all of his other ties that he has in so many areas of human activity, he has the consciousness to invest in 1,000 acres to raise Angus. People eat beef. He raises Angus and hay because guess what? These cows got to eat. And so Jay Prince, we think about Ice Cube in this last political, I'm going to call it theater. So Ice Cube put his neck on the line and he got attacked for it. But coming out with a business plan for Black America. He went to the president. He went to Donald Trump, and he even went to the administration you have in now, which still hasn't responded or taken any action items. But he had the wherewithal, understanding how to leverage his star power. Many of us know Ice Cube as a hip hop artist. Even those of us that aren't political can appreciate the value of this Black man standing up saying, no, we need some very specific action items for us. If O'Shea Jackson was just a regular man, nobody would have paid attention. But because he knew the value of, he's created Friday, he's created all of these cultural influencers, and instead of just sitting back, like, Kwame Brown is pointing out, some people just, let me get that white man's bag and I'll hush. But Ice Cube didn't do that. We think about Ronald and Brian Williams, Slim and Baby. So I met Baby. So I'm hip hop, right? I'm rap. So I met them back in 1998 up in Louisville, Kentucky. This is before the tattoos, but it changed my perspective on we shouldn't look at people as heroes. I think a few people, Kwame Brown has touched on that. Don't look at individual humans as heroes more than icons and lights. Not to get too religious, but in the Bible it says, be ye lights unto the world. Lights don't talk. I don't think nobody hangs up pictures and posters of lights in their rooms or on their walls, but you use a light to guide you down a path. And so a lot of us know Brian and Slim Williams as the founders of Cash Money Records, Young Money Records, rich gang. They invested in brown oil and natural gas. And so they had the wherewithal, and this is in the midst of the music popping, to invest in an energy production company. They're down there in the Gulf in Louisiana. So we understand to power agriculture, to power any sort of production, you have to have energy. And, this isn't a thing that we relegate to other groups. We have people within our community that already have the brain power to pursue these fields. But what happened with brown oil? Like I said, I'm not here to speak on anybody's business. We're not here to pocket watch, but I guarantee it wasn't enough B1 family. When we think about the things that we, look up on people, people were big on to put some respect on my name, but put some respect on the game. These people are trying to produce power. Were we poised? Did we have the information? Did we have the knowledge to support it? Recently, and as I'm speaking, I'm not going to say that all of these people are my favorite, or but let's put this in perspective of what drives Black culture, because we understand a big part of agriculture is having a consumer buy-in. You're not going to protect something that you're not aware of or don't value. And so this concept of high value man has been thrown around the internet. It's been, we know people's popularity goes in ebbs and flows. But when we're talking about this specific moment right now, when Black agriculture, people are giving us kind of this tokenized attention. Like, yeah, we help these Black farmers with all of these loans. But any of the agriculturalists that are watching understand, once I've given you a few headlines of a success, then you're going to spend the next few years struggling, looking for, hold up, where's all this help you said you're going to get? So somebody like Kevin Samuels, he's an image consultant, right? So, one of the things with agriculture, we're a people that respect the sexy in things. And so, I may not agree with everything that, some content creators create, but this man has a large platform right now. What if there was some way in his conversation, when I say him, he just represents the manosphere. He represents this concept of there's a groundswell of Black men who realize our power. We realize our place in society. We realize, the respect we want, not only from our women, but within our households, within our community, is literally going to be based on our value. And so he's somebody, how do we make farming sexy again? Because before we had athletes, before there was entertainment and media as we knew it, it was the man that could produce food that was the alpha. And this is civilization when our ancestors were farming. As we go down, so the brother Maj Toure, Black Guns Matter. And so I'm gonna tie him and Grandmaster Jay together. So we know over the last year or two, especially when COVID hit, these brothers were voices. We know some of the most scary visuals for this thing we'll call the opaque layer of white supremacy is the concept of Black males that will stand up with firearms ready to defend. And so as far as what I understand about the brother Maj Toure, it's really just, a lot of people, oh, he's conservative. What are you, a Trumpite? No, because if you do the history of what we come from a republic. Our ancient ancestors, before this turned into the concept that we know of the U.S. now, it was a republic, right? But Maj Toure understood the concept of our rights to own firearms, and not only a right, but the necessity to defend yourself. If you're in a situation, you're in a pool where there are people that defend their land, defend their economy, defend their stance, defend their ideology with guns, you don't want to be in there throwing books at people. You don't want to be in there throwing your anger and emotions at people, because that's not gonna move anything when we think about this concept of power. And Grandmaster Jay, and so I know he's actually going through some legal battles right now in the state of Kentucky. Last year, just were walking through with NFAC, they shut down Derby, and I want to keep prefacing that we're not here to be a proponent of any one group against the other, more so than just pointing out to the people the wealth of knowledge and information and power that already exists within our community. So Grandmaster Jay, through whatever means, was able to galvanize multiple gun groups, the Huey Newton Gun Club, multiple groups around the country that understood the concept of, okay, we can do all this talking, we can do all of this protesting, We can do all of this, metaphysical talk. We can get into the sciences, but if you can't defend yourself peacefully, once again, but it's one thing, okay, I'm asking you to stop fighting me, but you can beat me up. But it's another thing. When I was younger, my thing was, I don't really want to whoop your ass, but let me show you, we got hands, and then you're in a better position to do politics. And then the center, last but not least on this page, and there's so many other brothers that are putting in work. But like I said, this is our dream. Dane Calloway. And so when you think about, the concept of black agriculture, the word black is a divisive word within itself. And here at B1AG, I say the word black for a lack of a better term. I don't know what other term to use. Hebrew Israelite, autochthonous, indigenous, Niji, Negro, colored, Indian, native. We have so many titles that have been bestowed upon us in what we call this concept of North America that we don't know what to call ourselves. There is history being done, and this brother Dane Calloway has done a lot of extensive research. He's a historian. A lot of times we'll look to Cornell University, Harvard. We'll look at all of these other sources, the Smithsonian, as being the icons and the essence of what it means to do historical research. But it's nothing like having somebody that's B1 at heart doing this research. And so when we're having this agricultural conversation, we have to understand where we came from. We have to understand how it went from 15% of black agricultural producers to 1.4%. And this brother has done some extensive work really detailing the different, I'm going to call it technology that has been applied to a lot of our ancestors losing their land. A lot of us approach this like, oh, we was brought from somewhere else and enslaved. It's brown people all around the world, all across the diaspora. If you look at this globe behind me, wherever this equator touch, the equator being the center point of the planet, that's where the sun hits the hardest. What do they say? We're the sun-kissed people. Where our melanin is activated because of this sun, which we know people who own 242,000 acres in North America want to block the sun out. But Dane Calloway has done the research to understand a lot of us are from here. Peace to brother Tariq Nasheed as well with the concept of foundational Black Americans. And so we understand a lot of our legacy. Obviously, a lot of us are from Africa. We have genes and DNA that ties to the motherland in Alkebalon, before it was called Africa, before it was conquered by Africanus. It was Alkebalon. Right. But we also know here in the West, when we think about the Olmec society, when we think about the Aztecs, when we think about the Shawnee, the Blackfoot, the Choctaw, Cherokee, Wichita, we have a rich history. And when one of the things we talk about here at B1AG is civilization couldn't exist until man understood the way of working the resources of the land. So saying that to say, as we go over this list, it isn't about the individual. But each of these individual, what we'll call black men, for lack of a better word, represent light. So if you can move to the center of this to really frame this whole conversation. Right now, one of the most popular, viewed, and culturally palatable black males in North America is Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown, I would never say I'm not the real Farmer Brown. I'm the real Farmer Brown, the MC. But between Jason Brown and Kwame Brown, both Carolina men, these are the Farmer Browns. Farmer Brown historically is a generic term. And if you Google Farmer Brown, you'll see a white male in overalls. And so one of our goals here at B1AG is to change the context of what we in the melanated community see as a black farmer. We don't want to evoke images of slavery. We don't want to evoke images of, oh, this is horrible, this is disgusting work. Kwame Brown is on point because he understands as an athlete. I've never been fortunate to live the sports life, but I imagine as a top draft pick at 17 years old, he's had a lot of great times. He mentored by Michael Jordan. So this man understands the world and people in a very different way than most of us viewing this would. And so the fact that at 39, he has the understanding in his mind, like, I want to show my son how to farm. I want to show my son how to utilize the land to produce what you need. I feel like the biggest bust right now in North America with the B1 community is that we're not talking about the fact that this man is farming. I hate to insert my personal opinions, but we can all dream, right? It disturbs me that with the wealth of all of these men, because I haven't made up anything. Everything I've said is absolutely 100% factual. All of these men have been out in the forefront speaking about what they speak about respectively. So nobody's hiding in corners. What I can say as a black man, none of us go without some sort of dirt or blood on our fingers in some way, shape, or form, meaning none of us are perfect. Everybody has karma to deal with. But how great would it be? How dope would it be if instead of people stoking the flames between, say, Dr. Boyce and Kwame Brown, if people were stoking that division, what if people were forcing? And we saw a couple of brothers on some of the posts saying, hey, why don't y'all link up? As recently, I think Brother Kwame Brown said he's not interested. And like I said, we're not here to talk about anybody's business more so than what if we could have this brain trust of black men. We're not here to disparage the women. The women have a role, but in the spirit of Kevin Samuels, how do we establish this next layer of high value men? Just for the sake of our conversation, talking about agriculture, because agriculture needs a boost. I can't think of last time a black man, a black farmer has been the most popular person in North America with black people. And this will be a huge missed opportunity if we don't somehow seize upon this opportunity to have a broader discussion.
And let's be honest, man. We as black men in this country, we're under attack, and we've been under attack. And we're under attack from almost every single angle. And as a community, our diet and what we eat is one way they've been attacking us. Now, when we think of farmers, a lot of us do think of slavery. A lot of us do think of, well, that's just something the white people do. But Kwame Brown is a farmer. That's what a farmer looks like. A farmer looks like Kwame Brown. It's not just an old white man with a hat and a piece of straw in his mouth. A farmer looks like you. You are a farmer. Farming and growing your own food is a God-given right. It's something that we all can do. It's what we're all supposed to do. It's a survival skill. Let's reclaim this right. We're losing our young men in this country. We're losing them. We need to rally all this testosterone and energy behind something like agriculture to teach our young men how to survive in this world, to teach them how to appreciate a hard day's work, teach them how to be mean, show them their value to this world as men, at least so they know the value within themselves as young men. We're losing them. We're losing our people, and we got to save ourselves. And we can do this through agriculture.
The other day, Kamala, Chucks and Pearls. The other day, Kamala brought little baby to the White House to meet. Some say it's a photo op. Like I said, here at B1AG, we're not here to disparage anybody, but how many people have been reaching out openly to hold counsel at the White House just to discuss some very specific, tangibles for the Black community? They haven't reached back out to Dr. Claude Anderson. I'm not aware of. I'm not in any of these people's office, but if they did, I imagine it would be all over the headlines. They haven't reached out to Ice Cube, but they'll go to the rappers. One of the points we're making is all of these men on here represent, people talk about the Bilderberg group, the Illuminati, the Rothschilds. All of these men in their respective areas have achieved great successes, right? How beautiful would it be if somehow, our community cared enough Kwame Brown has done a good job in shaming people. Like, he's really put the spotlight on some people. If I was a popular person within sports or entertainment, I would start questioning myself. He's made people have to start smelling themselves. How dope would it be if we could take this moment right now and get these brain trusted people? Because all of these black men right now are still living, especially the elders up at the top. When we're talking about the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, we're talking about Thomas Burrell, we're talking about John Boyd, we're talking about Judge Joe Brown, Phil Valentine, Morgan Freeman, Jason Black. These are elders that have lived. These are people that, okay, say you have a 2-hour powwow moderated by somebody like Jason Black, right? We already have the action items. We know we want black food security. We know we want to protect the black farmers that exist. We know we want to bring in a whole new layer of younger black farmers. And so what if you had these men who already understand the history of how this got to at a conversation? Everybody has about 20 minutes apiece to lay there. Hey, this is my story. This is what I understand. This is what I would do. What if you have a Dr. Phil Valentine to go in deeper about, hey, metaphysically speaking, if we don't be conscientious of our health, these are a lot of these other things in motion that have other plans with our health. What if you have a Judge Joe Brown who's breaking down the law? He dropped some jewels on me when I was fortunate to speak to him. What did he say? He said, when you become successful, they come for you. But this is where Amaj Toure and the Grandmaster Jay come in. This isn't an attack thing. You don't have to attack anybody. Our attack, our strategy of being proactive is learning how to grow something. It's literally learning how to grow something. What if you have a Jay Prince, the leverage that Jay Prince has? What if he can influence X amount of these CEOs? Because we're seeing a lot of CEOs right now, old in the game, right? Once the music is gone, what do you have to fall back on? But what if the same way we would want the athletes to take this Jason Brown model, this Kwame Brown model, this Von Miller model, what if that's pre-baked into their education through the Frederick Douglass School, through Dr. Umar, right? What if a part of their history course is, hey, through Dane Calloway, we need you to know the context of this fight that you're fighting? What if a Tariq Nasheed was able to create this documentary that is required learning in every black household across America that has a stomach, that has people within that house that have to eat, and it's required viewing? What if Bronald Oil, baby, what if we could put some respect on a black-owned energy company? I know some elders here up in Kentucky. These are war vets. These are people who've been managers at various factories. They tried to go get gas stations and they were blackballed. And these are upstanding church individuals. And so we know there's a layer where, spirituality is absolutely a big piece of this. We're in our finest hour, but we have to have codified strategies. This is where Neely Fuller comes in. He always goes in on this concept of, hey, we don't need to be doing no partying right now. We don't need to be just hanging around each other talking about our problems. We need a code. What is a code? A code is going to produce justice, right? To make universal man and woman. This justice we speak of is being able to feed ourselves in whatever climate, political, social, economic climate exists, being able to feed ourselves. Not only being able to feed ourselves, creating the cultural buy-in, creating the cultural desire to really focus on what can we each individually do to contribute to this broader black agricultural production and economic and nutritional food system. Kevin Samuels, because we know people's buzzes come and go. While we have this concept of high value man floating around, and obviously you'll never get anybody. There's no such. I don't think there's any movement, even with all of these gentlemen on here, that's brought everybody into play. But if you got to think, with these 22 men just on this image, we're talking about they've covered 44 million of us in North America alone. 44 out of 44 million melanated people in North America, all of us know at least one or two of these gentlemen. When we're talking about code, it doesn't mean, hey, I need you to look at the world the way I look at it. It doesn't mean, hey, I need you to buy my product. It doesn't mean, hey, I need you to, see these. I need you to see the social issue from my vantage point. It just means all of us agree that there's a food security issue in the B1 community. There's a food production issue when it comes to our black farmers. And so I'm going to lend my voice. I'm going to lend my expertise to talking about from a financial end. Hey, financially, this is how you go about doing it. Claude Anderson can come in and tell you exactly how much land we would need, right? A finance person like Dr. Boyce can tell you exactly, this is how much money is needed to procure this amount of land. Do you see when we're talking logistics and code? Minister Farrakhan can literally go back to the 1964 playbook of this is what an economic blueprint looks like. We've been telling y'all this forever and ever. And so each of these gentlemen represent a brain trust that I would hope I would hope that doesn't go to the grave before the melanated community it actually gets a taste of it, right? Once you've spoken truth, it now falls on the receiver of that truth to take an action item. I have a dream that these gentlemen will be able to sit down in a room for 2 hours and hash out, hey, this is what I would do. You bring this word food security up. Oh, damn, I didn't know it was this lack of black farmers. This is what I would do. This is what I would do. Kwame Brown stand up. This is what I did. And be very blunt about it. No pussyfooting around. Jason Brown stands up. This is what I've did, and this is what I've done, and this is how I've been able to serve people on the vegetable production end. Von Miller, hey, this is what I've done. We know y'all like eating chicken. Hey, this is what I've done. This is how I can amplify the operation I have. Jay Prince, ain't got to say much. You see what I've earned in my life. But if you want to raise a few head of Angus beef and some hay to feed all of these operations, this is how I've done it.
And Jay Prince actually started his entrepreneurship in agriculture as a young man selling pigs in the hood, like literally selling pigs in the hood. That's how he started making money as a young man. I'm talking about like 12 years old. Because like I said before, I've said this a million times, food flips harder than anything on this planet. Food flips harder than any kind of dope. Food flips harder than any kind of electronic. Because at the end of the day, everybody don't smoke crack. Everybody don't use coke. Everybody don't even smoke weed. But everybody eats. Everybody has to eat. And hopefully more than once a day. This is where the wealth is. We need to stop. This is a great opportunity to change the narrative. This is a great opportunity to change the perspective of how we see agriculture, our food, and the people who bring the food to us. Right now, Kwame Brown, in all of his geechiness, he's showing the archetype male. This is what a black man looks like. A free black man out there farming and providing and raising his family. That's what it looks like. This is what I'm used to seeing. I'm from where they're from. I'm from the same area and region. This is what I'm used to seeing as manhood. And it's something in their very valuable life lessons that you can learn in agriculture and from farming, and that will make you a real man, that will make sure that you can stand on your square, that will make sure that you are standing up healthy and strong. And the women know your value to them. So there's this conversation, it permeates all walks of life, not just agriculture, socially, economically, spiritually, metaphysically. Gotta learn how to feed ourselves. It's about more than food too. Got any last words for him, Farmer Brown?
Cultural buy-in is the biggest piece. We talk about social marketing a lot here on B1AG. Right now, and I doubt any time in your life has one of the most popular black men in North America or the world been a black farmer.
How about that?
Who cares about his performance on the court? You know, he could have been the best player, worst player. That didn't feed anybody. I mean, my need to understand stats might have been fed, but as far as stomachs, you can shoot 1,000,000 jump shots, 1,000,000 3-pointers. That doesn't feed anybody, you know, but the family of those shooting those 3-pointers. But right now, the fact that this black man, regardless of his performance on the court, has got the attention of a large percentage of the melanated community positively. Positively, he didn't go sell himself out. He didn't effeminize himself. You know, he didn't go, you know, putting on dresses and sliding down poles. He stood up, and it is my hope that we don't waste this opportunity to have this broader discussion about Black agriculture. It is my hope that for the young men that are looking at him, yes, it's great to be able to talk shit, right? You know, shit talking is a great art, but this man is growing food. This is the face of a Black farmer. This is the face of a Black farmer. There have been hundreds of thousands of our ancestors and elders who have died a death of 1,000 paper cuts just trying to get our people to understand their plight. The only resources you have available are a government that continuously shits on you. Right now, just with this post that we put here, there's enough men, there's enough brain power in North America alone amongst Black men to address this issue. And all it takes is buy-in. As the elder Neely Fuller Jr. said, once you visualize and once you desire justice, once you desire to do something, then your mind is automatically going to take you to it. We haven't had any opportunities like this in many decades.
And for far too long, the voice of Black men have been silenced, and that's not happening anymore. You can see it. It's breaking. Black men, we're talking. Right now, there's a lot of disagreements, but we're talking. And we as Black men know we can disagree and not get in our feelings. That's a power that we have as men, and especially as Black men. So let's focus that on something serious, on something productive, on something that will truly uplift our people. Because everybody on this list, and even people like Master P, Master P, they all want to uplift. It's in their mission statement. It's in their DNA to uplift. And boy, it's a saying that I can't remember where I heard it, but it's many hands make light work. Now you look at these hands on this picture, strong hands, and you get all these strong hands together. We can lift the universe. Thank y'all for coming to us today, checking out this slice of daily bread. I hope y'all let this bread I hope y'all let it marinate, soak up all the gravy in this bread, in this daily bread today. Soak up all the gravy. Chew the fat. Chew the meat, spit out the fat. But ain't no beef. You know, we save the beef for the grill, you know what I'm saying, for the holidays. Me personally, I like the barbecue. I save my beef for the grill. But let's uplift this universe. We can lift the universe. You, whoever watching, you can lift the universe. But it sure is a lot easier when you have strength in numbers, strength in intelligence, strength in power. But if you really want to know something, what do they need to do, Farmer Brown?
Let's learn how to work with each other and learn how to grow something.
Y'all hear? Thank you for sitting in with us today. B1AG, B1AG family. Kwame Brown, the biggest bust is that we aren't talking about him farming. Let's get to growing. Let's grow harder. Let's love harder. Let's be prosperous. Let's be abundant. Talking about a bust life. Let's live this abundance life. That ag life.
B1AG. I want the bag.
There it is. See y'all next time. I'd like to thank y'all. I'm making a call. Really, I'm just going ahead and say it. I'm making a call out. I'm shouting everybody who we've named here, from Master P to Kwame Brown, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Dr. Phil Valentine, Judge Joe Brown, Jason Brown. Hey man, we need to get together, y'all. We need to get together for real, for real, for real. It's like we see what's going on. Let's feed the people for real. Let's feed the people. 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 And we out.